All right, you're watching Breakfast Central on News Central, and we're starting with South Africa, where the former president Jacob Zuma spent the night behind bars after handing himself over to authorities. Now, the former statesman has now begun serving a 15-month sentence for contempt of court.
Now, this sentence was handed down by the Constitutional Court last week. Although the embattled leader had tried to appeal the decisions, his efforts have come to naught. Now, this historical move means that Zuma becomes the first former president in South Africa to be jailed. Now, joining us once again to really break down and make sense of it all this time, once again, is Candice Bailey, correspondent out there in South Africa. Morning to you, Candice. Well, a lot has happened on the last, 12, 24 hours. So give us a rundown of the night. Jacob Zuma handing himself over. Wow.
Surprising.
Surprise.
Morning, Breakfast Central. Certainly a very dramatic night for us in South Africa last night. At about 11:20, the former president did hand himself over. In fact, he left his Nkandla homestead in a police convoy, and we believe that's when he left to the Escort correctional facility where he handed himself over. At about 5 to 12 last night, we got a statement from the Jacob Zuma Foundation confirming that the former president would hand himself over. And at 12:15, police confirmed that he was in police custody. By 2:30 in the morning, we then got notification from the Department of Correctional Services that he was in custody at Escort Correctional Facility. What we do know is that it was quite a dramatic night. It was a 2-hour negotiation with the former president to get him to hand himself over, with the ultimatum that if he did not hand himself over, his protectors would step down and a new set of police would come to his house and they would then escort him and take him in. So it was a last-minute attempt by the president to get to avoid incarceration, but definitely at the end of the day, he did hand himself over.
Right. Now, Candice, what has been the reaction of his supporters? Let's not forget that the supporters were hell-bent on ensuring that Zuma would not spend a day, an hour, a minute, or a second in prison.
Indeed, Oluchi. So very different scenes last night at Nkandla compared to what we saw on Sunday, where we saw thousands or hundreds of supporters at Nkandla protecting the president. Last night, there was a very small convoy of people, including his son, Edward Zuma, outside his house, but very small, only about 2 to 3 cars. The official reaction is not out yet. We have seen a statement from the Zuma Foundation saying that its spokesperson, Mzanele Mani, would not be fielding any questions or interviews from the media because he was dealing with the tragedy. Also, some reaction on Twitter. The suspended Secretary General, Ace Magashule, who is also seen as a supporter of Jacob Zuma, sending a very cryptic tweet to him saying that it might be stormy now, but it can't rain forever and that he should soldier on. His daughter, Duduzile Zuma, putting out some statements saying that she had spoken to her father. He was in high spirits. He was joking about his time on Robben Island, but no further official statements. We do know that the Defend Our Democracy campaign, which is on the other side, not really a supporter of Zuma, but have started to welcome the handing over of the former president.
All right, so lots of talks there, especially him not taken by force. All right, well, Candice, take us back, because on Monday we spoke to you. We talked about, Zuma going to the Pietermaritzburg court, which was a lower court, to kind of appeal against, this arrest for his contempt of court. What really happened to that process? Did it get all trumped up and thrown out?
So indeed, Olisa, Friday, Zuma made 2 applications, one to the Pietermaritzburg High Court and one to the Constitutional Court. To the Constitutional Court, he was asking for a rescission of the decision by the court from last week so that he can essentially appeal that. The Pietermaritzburg High Court, he was hoping to stay the execution of the court order that the Constitutional Court had set out, saying that he had 5 days to hand himself over. That case was argued in court on Tuesday, as you may have seen. It was argued in court. Zuma's lawyers came to the fore. The lawyers for the commission came to the fore. Lawyers for the Helen Suzman Foundation came to the fore. However, judgment was reserved in that matter until Friday. And I think there was a thought that pending the reserve the judgment being reserved, the court order won't be executed. However, late yesterday afternoon at about 5, we were told that Zuma's lawyers had actually written to the Constitutional Court asking them to issue a directive that the court order not be executed, pending the outcome of Friday's case and pending the outcome of Monday, when he goes to the Constitutional Court. However, I think that bid was just a little bit too late. You may know that the person who had to essentially deal with the directive was Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, who's the same person who was on the State Capture Commission, who actually has wanted Zuma to come before the commission. So I think it was just a wrong place, wrong time.
Right. Now, the former president gave his reasons why he did not think he should be in prison. Now, one of his main reasons was the state of health. Looking at the situation of things now in South Africa, looking at COVID-19, what measures have been put in place concerning his space? I mean, as to where he would stay in prison?
What I can tell you, Luchi, is that the Minister of Justice, Ronald Lamola, will be addressing the media today. That he'll be giving us a bit of an outcome, a bit of an explanation about the processes that will be followed for the time that the former president stays incarcerated in the correctional facility. So, at the moment, I cannot tell you what measures have been put in place, but we will know a bit more about his time in prison and how he will be treated during that time.
All right, Candice, we expect that perhaps maybe medical tests will be done on Jacob Zuma to find out, his health and also mental state, going into incarceration before any other process will come. And so we'll be coming back to you, that's for sure, to find out when the press conference is held. But quickly before we go, it's a big story in Africa right now that Jacob Zuma, former president, goes into prison. How do you think, this will play out in the long term? Because don't forget, we still have the case, which is the corruption trial that is still, somewhere not too far along the way.
Look, Elisa, it's hard to tell how things will play out. He will have to go for his corruption trial later this month, so that will still play out. I mean, the State Capture Commission continues, and they should have an outcome very shortly. So things are going to be playing out. I think what's important for us at the moment is that we are seeing that everybody is equal before the law. We are seeing that accountability is coming to the fore, and that people are being held accountable for their actions and for the decisions that they make while they are in power.
All right. Thank you so much, Candice, for the insight. We will be updated with every information that you give us from South Africa. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.